Welcome back to RBP. I'm Ross Bolen here with your co-host Jared Borislow, a.k.a. J-Bone 2.0, a.k.a. Jerry Fresh, a.k.a. Cactus Jack, a.k.a. Jandolph the Great, a.k.a. Content Jarhead. What's good, ho?
Nobody calls me Cactus Jack. We've been over this many times. While waiting for my introduction, I decided to look down and read the warning label on the adapter that plugs in to our lights here in the studio. And
why would you do that?
Because something caught my eye. You and I were editors professionally for a long time.
Sure.
We still are technically, but like legitimately our day-to-day job was editing.
You mean copy editing specifically?
Yes. And so
technically you could edit anything.
Well, yes, copy editing.
I could edit this house by setting off an explosive in my own bedroom.
Editing houses, we're getting into Fortnite territory.
I'm just saying, anything can be edited. We were copy editing copy.
Well, a misspelling caught my eye, and then I proceeded to read the rest of it, and I think every single thing is misspelled or incorrect on this adapter.
Well, there's a thing people need to know about these lights, and that they were made in China, and Jared has long been wary of them, so much so that when he leaves the house / office, even if they are turned off, he unplugs them, because sometimes when you plug them in, there's a little bit of sparkage that goes on inside, and they look highly flammable. Like that if there was a spark, that this would just this whole fucking light thing, the thing around the light, whatever that is.
It's a fire in a circus tent situation here.
And if you've never been on like a TV set or a movie set or a podcast set that films or somewhere with lighting to be done for the cameras, then you don't really know what these things look like, but they look like they'd go up in fucking flames. That's what they look like.
I'll briefly read a little bit of this to you. It says AC/DC adaptor. I don't know. I don't think that's the right spelling. I thought it's adapter, T-E-R, right?
Well, some things are spelled differently than they're pronounced there.
Well, don't worry. They cover their bases because the next line says switching adapter with adapter spelled with an E.
Jared is how your name is spelled.
I would disagree with that.
If I saw your name on paper and nobody had ever said it ever before ever, I'd go, Jared.
All I'll say is this. If you want a full reading of the warning label on our light adapter, go to patreon.com/RossBolenPodcast.
Well, I'm on a page right now that's adapter versus adapter with the two spellings, and I got to tell you, this is not how I planned on spending my time today. But it says adapter with ER is more often used to when referring to a person. OR is when it's a piece of machinery.
Okay.
According to this, it's when it's an electronic or other mechanical device. So which one's on there?
Both.
See, they covered both their bases.
They also spelled indoor with one O.
The Chinese.
They spelled use, U-E-S. So
one step ahead of us at all times.
They went out of their way to misspell every word on this.
You know how corporations count as people in the United States?
Yes.
Well, in China, electronics count as people.
Is that why they took in all of our electronics recycling for decades?
Did they?
Yes.
The Chinese?
You remember growing up, it was like, once a month you go down and you recycle your electronics. Don't throw them in a landfill where they can seep into the water supply.
Wait, hold on. You didn't even let me answer the question. No, I don't remember that.
Oh.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're saying every month, once a month, growing up in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Not the most recycling forward state probably in the union. And once a month you would take your old electronics out to where? Was there like an ice cream man situation? Like a guy driving around with a song playing and you bring out your electronics and trunk them in the back of the truck?
Okay, I'm not kidding. It was a dumpster behind a Lowe's.
Weird. What did they do with all that stuff? It went to China?
They shipped it to China. China was
They
paid.
were hoarding these electronics and probably finding ways to use them to rebuild men. What was that show?
$1 Million Man.
We have the technology.
We can rebuild him.
We can rebuild him.
So what was happening was China was getting paid by these American electronics recycling companies to take all of this massive electronic waste, e-waste they call it, from America, and then the electronic recycling companies in America were going, that's China's problem now. And then China wasn't recycling it. They were throwing it in creeks and ditches in a part of the country.
What's that pissed off little girl's name?
Greta Thunberg.
Greta, for people who are like, what's her deal? Like, we have irreparably butt-fucked this planet. That's her deal. But, like, she's the first generation, I think, that's educated and in a position, like, social media-wise, to express their anger enough to actually, for it to matter. And she's very well-spoken.
How dare you?
But how dare you?
You can't see. Here's the thing. You like to complain, Ross, about global warming, climate change. Don't tell me you don't want a vacation on the Pacific plastic trash island.
Oh, as soon as reservations open up, I'm first in line. I want to walk on the Pacific trash island like Jesus walked on water. This is our version. This is as close as we got. What is that still really a thing?
Yes.
Why don't we bomb it?
I don't think that would. I don't know what that would do. I guess it would just melt the plastic and then make a bigger island, potentially.
This is why they vote for us, 2024, Bolen and Borislow.
You want to bomb the Pacific plastic trash island?
On our, what do they call it? You have to come up with?
Your agenda.
On our platform.
Okay.
Is that we're going to bomb that fucking trash island into non-existence so that we don't have to carry that guilt collectively every day. I think it's making us all feel pretty shitty. Let's bomb that fucking thing and move on with our lives so a few seals die. And there's no seals around to save the people who are trying to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge.
I'm in favor of figuring out something to do with the trash island, but you seem like you've really kind of rushed into this idea of bombing it.
Look, everybody wants to think I'm this big liberal pussy. I want to bomb Trash Island right now. Do you understand me? That's the first fucking thing on my platform, and it's not a joke. It's funny, admittedly, but it's not a joke. That's the first thing on our you're on the ticket. Okay. Whether you want to be or not.
So I have to back this then.
No, you just have to not back it like Mike Pence did with everything.
Okay.
You know, you don't have to back the president. People think, oh, the VP has to back the president. On me. No, if you disagree, you do the Homer Simpson, slowly back into the hedges, and you're good.
What's Kamala up to? I've seen some reports going on.
I finally saw a photo of her, like in a recent headline, and was like, oh, good, because like if I just never hear about what you're doing, it can't be good.
You know, it's reminiscent of that whole thing with the Scientology leader's wife, Shelley Miscavige.
Did she disappear?
Well, yeah. People are like, hey, we kind of haven't seen Shelley Miscavige in like, I don't know, 10 years. Like, is she alive?
See, the thing is, it just gives people the reason, like, every time one of North Korea's I'm not going to try to remember which one's currently alive and doing his thing. One of North Korea's leaders will disappear for like 3 months. And then when he resurfaces, people are like, well, he died clearly, and they replaced him with either one of the clones or with a body double that they had facial work done to. And so when our VP just she's not relevant for an extended period of time, it just gives the conspiracy theorists another leg.
Now, what if? Would it impact your platform if it came out that she was kind of sent into a pseudo-exile because she wanted to bomb the trash island? Are you willing to let this impact your candidacy, this core issue?
Yes. It is my one and only issue so far, so I have to let it impact my candidacy if, in fact, there is a controversy to be had around bombing Trash Island. I have to fight through it.
We need to find a state that you could get like at least 1% of the vote in if that's your only platform and the only thing you're willing to take questions about. And then they'll ask you questions, and you will have not even a remedial understanding of the actual island.
Yeah, which state is most impacted by the Trash Island off the coast of China?
I would be anything on the Pacific coast. Oh, Alaska?
I was going to say, maybe Alaskans are my first ally here. Our first ally here,
Here's what you
Jared.
need to do, okay? You need to claim Alaskan residence, and then during the course of these debates and these public meetings, you need to go, I can see Trash Island from my house.
You just go full Ralph, huh?
Full Palin.
Palin?
Sarah Palin.
You sounded like Ralph from The Simpsons, but you were doing Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
Oh, when she claimed she could see
Russia
from
her house.
from her home.
I can see Trash Island from my house.
Yeah. Anyway, Jared, I was talking to my dog, Bella, last night.
What?
My dog?
You're talking to your dog.
Yeah, I talked to him pretty regularly. And she was being all sassy and shit. And I was like, Bella, just a reminder. I love you with all my heart, but you wouldn't last 20 minutes in the wild. And then it hit me. I wouldn't last 20 minutes in the wild. I've talked about it on this show several times over the years, but like on paper, if left to my own devices, without science or medicine and technology, I would be fucked. I have allergies. I'm blind as a bat. Thank God for our sponsor, Felix Gray. I had absolutely terrible teeth when I was a child, like so bad, like crooked inside, like that they were going. It looked like, I feel like eventually there would have been a problem with how I was able to eat. Had it not been for the invention of braces, right? Or whatever the fuck they have now. Hopefully it's something better than that.
We all know that you have no problem eating anything nowadays.
Why do we all know that?
You've spoken about it on the Patreon episode. Just willing to eat anything.
Oh, you're making a pussy joke.
Yes.
I didn't know. I was like, are you calling me fat right now? What's your fucking problem? Jeez. I'm tall and white, so I stand out, in the forest to be eaten. And zero calf definition has been highlighted over the years as well. So yeah, I really have no room to talk. And it's always been one of those things I judged my dogs for and kind of held over their head whenever they act like little shits. Like, y'all are the size of squirrels. Sometimes I have to not leave you in the backyard because there are reports of coyotes in the neighborhood and you're giving me a hard time. But in reality, you know how people say, like, you end up looking like your dog, and then there's just really funny examples of people who look just like their dog, and then you share personality traits with your dogs and stuff? Like, I might be the worst example or best example of that, depending on how you look at it, of all time. They're just a representation of every personality trait I have. It's weird.
But yeah, I feel like knowing your dogs, it's like your personality is split up into both dogs, right? Like
yeah, they both have some. But I also might have split personality disorder for all we know. Or whatever it's called. Certainly not what I just said. But I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. There's movies about it.
I'm not the son of a doctor either.
You
should know this.
I do. It's actually called...
You don't.
Yes, I do.
Multiple personality disorder?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the son of a doctor.
I told you.
Maybe I'm adopted, like Larry David. Speaking of historically masculine characteristics, our newest employee, Content Kid's car broke down last night, and which sucks. Condolences. Everybody hates that. That's always a shitty ass day, and it's doubly shitty because it's like, well, look, you have a car. You're not in the worst spot, right?
Yeah.
Already, but the car breakdown could be the thing that puts you into the worst spot.
True.
It could be, because sometimes these things are wildly expensive. But the point is, Content K didn't have the slightest fucking clue what to do about his car. And hilariously, he was calling me.
You're the last person I'd ever call in that situation.
Which is, I mean, both admirable and warming inside my small frozen heart, but also completely idiotic. I have no knowledge about vehicles or cars. I remember my dad one time when I was like 8 years old, and he was like, "Come out here, son, and you're gonna watch me change my oil." And he was like drinking a beer, and like he laid down on a skateboard and like backed under the car, and I didn't know what the fuck. He showed me how to do it. I was like 8 years old, man. I didn't drive for another 8 years. He never showed me again. I don't remember that shit. Never changed my own oil. I don't know how to change a tire. I ended up having to buy a fucking robot car that drives itself, and I can't even drive that.
That's what's funny to me. That kid called you. You don't even drive a car. You drive a big glorified golf cart.
And then don't even drive that. My car literally doesn't have a battery that can be recharged like the one that you have, where you can charge it up to another car. It doesn't. None of those things even exist with my car. So I'm worthless. And that made me laugh quite a bit as I pieced it together later in the evening in my head. I was like, wait, he was calling me because he didn't know what to do, and like I would know what to do. I have no clue what to do when it comes to the car breakdown situation.
Now, the thing is this, me and Cade have extremely similar cars. They are shitty old Nissans.
They're
right?
the exact same fucking shape. It's kind of confusing.
Well, one's an Altima, one's a Sentra. So I have the Pussy Boy version. He has a larger one than me.
Okay.
But I have an SL, which is the standard of luxury, while he has a Sport edition. I'm more of a luxurious guy than Cade, so it kind of checks out.
All right. They're basically the same car, though, right? Like
They both are probably worth $1,000 on Carvana, yes.
they're basically the same. Yeah.
So it kind of brought me joy as a shitty car guy to see somebody else having car problems, like a little bit.
I mean, okay. So here's the thing. I guess I wasn't technically shitty car guy, but I was old car guy for a long time, and I just got I got lucky where I only had a couple instances. One where the old Lexus ES 350 whatever the fuck it was, a little Lexus sedan 2005, where it cost me any money. Like I got super lucky. Because frankly, it wasn't in that great a shape when I bought it. Like the inside was dope and it had leather, and I was like, sold.
It had the Lexus smell.
It had Lexus smell. It had the leather, and I was like, I'm fucking in, baby. Let's go. Let's do this. The outside had like weird scratches and dings on it. Like it had clearly been in a wreck and shit.
Yeah. Do they make candle that's Lexus smell? We should sell that.
Oh my God, they should.
I love that smell.
This is another one of those ideas, Jared, where it's like, Lexus, cut the check. Like that's a brilliant idea. They need to be paying you. The Lexus candle coming to you, Christmas 2022.
The
Brought
Lexus
to you by Jared.
Drive to Survive sales event. Close enough. They might run into copyright issues with Formula One.
But anyway, yeah. Not knowing anything about cars. Anyway, no, I never really. Dude, car trouble's so shitty. It's my worst nightmare being as uneducated as I am. Like, I get a flat tire and I'm like calling my dad. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, man? What happened? And he's like, what do you mean?
I don't know.
I live in a different city. And I'm like, dude, help. It's fucking. I can't drive my car.
I always call AAA. I don't hesitate.
Don't you have to be a member?
I am a member.
What does membership require?
My dad gives me my AAA card every year when I go home. I guess he pays for it.
So you have no fucking clue.
I don't know.
Could be $100 a year, could be $5,000.
Yes. Don't
There's
know.
a Curb episode about AAA, I believe, where Larry cancels their AAA and then Cheryl needs it immediately afterward. What a quinky dink. Causes friction in the marriage. It does, Jared. Yeah. Speaking of other things that would make me die in nature, I spoke to how my vision is not great. Like I'm taking off my Felix Grays right now. Okay, Jared is a white blurry circle outlined by black, which is his hair and his facial hair. I think so it's a white circle with black around it, and then he's a big black shirt with a big blue smudge in the middle. But you could be fucking anybody. If somebody was like, you're interviewing Jennifer Aniston right now, I'd be like, okay, let's do this, Jen. Like, I can't see shit. I can't read the whiteboard behind you. Okay, I can read the word code. That's it. And I obviously know what comes after that. But
your vision is that bad.
it is really, 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 really bad.
That's weird.
And the wild thing is, mine isn't even that bad compared to so whenever I think it is. In my head, I'm like, man, my vision is like as bad as it gets. Can't read a single one of those book titles, Jared. I mean, not close.
This is what I don't understand about humans. If we didn't,
not close.
if you were born before the invention of glasses, would you have just died immediately?
That's what I said. These books are 4 feet away. I can't read a single one of the titles. I mean, I know that one's the Knicks because I know what it looks like. But
are you nearsighted, farsighted, or short-sighted?
I think I don't think I'm either sided. I can't see fuck for shit at any distance.
I think you're pretty short-sighted.
You have a laugh track.
Fuck, you're right. Well,
I mean, you're a total waste of a soundboard, Jared. Has anybody ever told you that?
I'm a human soundboard. I can make sounds myself.
Jesus H. How have I not taken that thing from him? You have all failed me, listeners. The fact that Jared is still in control of the soundboard is on you. The blood is on your hands. Anyway, I can't see near, far, east, west, left, right. Jared, it doesn't matter. I can't see it. So I wear contacts and glasses, right, to offset it. People are like, why don't you get LASIK? Shut the fuck up. So So historically, my contacts come in, every X amount of months or whatever, and I go pick them up at my eye doctor. And yes, they could ship them to my house. And you know what? I haven't done it because I kind of like going in there. And it's in bee caves. I like having a reason to go to bee caves. I never get to go anymore. Bee caves is a nice little area, Austin, that we used to go to a lot because we worked near it. So I like going over there for the eye doctors. So I have this excuse, and I let them take my contacts. Most recent batch came from another means. That's all I'll say. Somebody ordered them for me, okay? They come in, so I didn't pick them up from the doctor like usual. And I'm wearing them like I normally do. And I'm going through this whole SSRI syndrome thing, weaning off of this antidepressant that's got my brain acting all wild and having brain zaps and manic episodes. And I've spoke about it, off and on our free show, and then to a much greater extent on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast if you're interested. But I just attributed it to that when my vision was a little wonky. When I was like, shit, a little blurry. I don't know. Maybe I'm just high. I just kind of wrote it off to or whatever. And then after a couple weeks, I'm like, all right, I think maybe something's wrong with these fucking contacts. And I said something to my girl, and she kind of wrote it off, probably for the same reason I did. And then I realized the other night, okay, no, that's it. It's time to do a test. And I stood there without my contacts in and with something out in front of me, to read it. And then I put in the contacts and stood and held it there. And then I took them out and put on my glasses. And I was like, yep, these are fucked. And I don't know if they were out in the sun too long or the contact. Apparently, I called the company. And apparently, every so often, this happens. They just immediately replace the box. But apparently, for whatever reason, every so often, there'll just be a contact box that's not correct. So for a fucking month, I've just been walking around half blind, basically. Thinking it was because of my brain or that I was going blind and I was like, I can't deal with one other thing right now. It's my fucking contacts. The point being, I was recently asked if I was a fan of the show Survivor. And I said no. My dad was, though. I couldn't even survive that. But if it was nature, straight up nature, if it was you're born in if I was born into an age without shelter, technology, and modern medicine, man, I would have been gone quick. Real quick. I got lucky there. It's hitting a 7 on the craps table of life, Jared.
Okay, that's 7 is not lucky. That's
first throw. It is. It's a win.
That's what you're referencing.
What?
You're referencing the specific instance of the first throw. When you say,
well, everybody knows when you roll when you're on a craps table and they hand you the dice. If you roll a 7 the first throw, you win.
Is that actually true? Because if you roll 7 any other time, you lose.
Yeah, after you've hit another number. You don't know how to play craps, do you?
Well, I just do. I put money on the pass.
You've revealed your own ignorance. I
do the pass,
haven't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so if I was put in nature, I would die, and maybe all those red cap weirdos on Twitter are right. Maybe I am a beta cuck.
You are.
After all. Today's episode is brought to you by Quip. The Quip electric toothbrush is loved by over 7 million mouths and has a timed sonic vibrations with 30-second pulses to guide a dentist-recommended 2-minute clean. So every 30 seconds, it pulses to remind you to move to another area of your mouth so that you get your whole mouth, all your teeth, each and every one of them, nice and shiny and clean. A lightweight and sleek design for adults and kids with no wires or a bulky charger to weigh you down. It has a multi-use travel cover that doubles as a mirror mount for less clutter. It's nice. You just stick it right on your mirror, slide your Quip down into it after you're done using it each and every morning and evening. Reusable handles in a range of sleek metal hues. They got a bunch of different colors, including best-selling all black and all pink, as well as bright plastic colors, sure to make your bathroom counter pop. Beyond the brush, Quip has everything you need to build a complete routine. Anti-cavity toothpaste and mint or watermelon. Both are very, very good. I've tried both. They help prevent cavities. Refillable mouthwash. It's a 4X concentrate, plus good for you and the planet. I've been using Quip for 3 or 4 years now. As my toothbrush, when they released the mouthwash, I switched to their mouthwash. When they dropped floss, I went to their floss. When they dropped gum, I started chewing their gum. Everything they've made is phenomenal. But I could not speak more highly about the Quip toothbrush experience. It is great. It's a great gift for the holidays. Great stocking stuffer. Probably a much nicer toothbrush than every other toothbrush your family and friends are using. So if you hit them with a Quip, this holiday season. You're doing them a huge favor. And if you go to getquip.com/RBP right now, you'll get your first refill free.
Free?
Free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/RBP, spelled GETQUIP.com/RBP. Quip, the good habits company.
Cool quip.
Speaking of beta cucks, Jared, I'm trying to make sense of something. It's the Kyle Rittenhouse media tour.
Oh, yeah. You said he's coming on here, what, next week?
He's our guest next week, special guest. Patreon next week. This week we've got Dave Ruff. Next week we've got Kyle Rittenhouse. I like to mix it up. And
Do you think somebody's going to think you're serious?
do I think somebody's going to think I'm serious right now?
Mm-hmm.
I can tell that you're concerned. That might
I'm not
be the case.
concerned. I always want to know if you think somebody would think that.
Do I think it's possible that a single human listening took that joke seriously?
Yes.
Absolutely. There's thousands of people listening, Jared. Some people are stupid.
He is actually coming on, though.
Yeah, but he is really our guest next week.
Yeah.
That wasn't a joke. So, Kyle Rittenhouse next week. Anyway, he's on his media tour, if you didn't know. And if you're going, who? Okay, here's my recollection of Kyle Rittenhouse with no prior research. No, I haven't watched a documentary about what happened. I paid very limited attention to the court case and am admitting ignorance almost entirely. But I do remember that during the, I guess, still ongoing race wars, he, one of the riots, one of the areas where riots were taking place, he had his parents or I guess you can't have your parents do anything. Your parents have to decide to do it because they're your parents. So his parents drove him across state lines and dropped him off in an active riot zone with a gun where he killed 3 people. And now, obviously, the woke left, upon hearing this story, probably assumed that he killed 3 black people, right? And that he's a little white kid. Well, that's not what happened. And it turns out some of the people he killed weren't I'll just say, of the most sound moral character, which still does not mean they deserve to be killed, which is an important thing. Because a lot of people in this Kyle Rittenhouse argument are going, yeah, but look, 2 of them were felons and 1 was a pedophile. And it's like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? We don't let 17-year-olds drive around the country just murdering everybody with a record. That's not how anything works or ever has worked. I guess it is, actually, because he got off completely. But the point stands. His parents drove him across state lines. They dropped him off. He got into the midst of the riot and was attacked, essentially. Or somehow a scuffle was incited. He and other individuals were going to come to conflict. And he shot and killed, I think, 3.
He shot 3, from what I remember.
Okay, yeah. And at least 2 are dead, I think.
Yes.
Maybe all 3?
2 for sure died. 1 dude got shot in the arm.
But he survived?
Yeah. And that's the guy who had the gun. The guy who survived also had a gun. It's an important note.
Sure. Okay. But back to my recollection, which has nothing to do with a guy having a gun. The story then stops for a long time and the obvious shit takes place, right? The right is talking about gun rights and how he basically should be seen as a hero. The left is talking about gun rights and saying that he's a terrorist, and everyone in the middle is just, they don't get to have a statement. If you're in the middle, you're not allowed to talk because the left and the right will just accuse you of being on whichever side they're not. So that's the way it is in America now. I'm just telling you how it works. I don't make the rules. So that is basically my recollection. Then the trial happens, and the judge is a total jack-off. Just a total jack-off. And I did see clips of the judge, and he was a total and utter jack-off.
How about you see the part where it was on Veterans Day, and he had everybody. He's like, "Is there a veteran here? Is there a veteran here?" And one guy's like, "I'm a veteran," and they're like, "Thank you for your service, sir." And that guy was the next witness.
Literally,
for the defense.
He takes it was not quick. He's like, "Is there we got any veterans in the courtroom today? Is there anyone here who may have served in the military with us in the courtroom, in the court today? Is there anyone, sir? One man, sir, would you stand up and let us recognize you? Name? Okay, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. All right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to the case. and then you hear somebody else go, "Now the defense calls to the stand," and then it's that name that he just said.
Yeah.
And the judge's face just goes, "Oh, fuck." And he grabs for paper, like a piece of paper, like, "You've got to be shitting me. Please don't be what I just heard her say." And it is, and he was that dumb. So that's the level of jackass he was. Now, that has nothing to do with, look, I don't know anything about the jury. I don't know what went down with the defense versus the prosecution. I have no clue why he got off on all his charges. I don't want to know. I don't. I know it will piss me off. I don't want to know. There is not a reason in my head that it should be okay for anybody to get off scot-free after crossing state lines with a rifle and killing 3 people, regardless of the real, unless we're having a full-on civil war, I guess, then the rules of war apply and things are different. But as far as I know, there should be some kind of punishment for, and I guess it's self-defense is the argument. Was that the whole argument, self-defense?
Same thing as the Trayvon Martin case where the guy got off. It's like with self-defense.
Well,
I think
not the same thing as the Trayvon Martin case.
I said with the self-defense.
I'm just keeping you from getting eaten alive right here. Because
I said with the self-defense.
Yes, with the self-defense argument, it was the same, sort of. But Trayvon wasn't in an active riot zone with an assault rifle. He was wearing a hoodie walking through like an apartment complex
with a bag of Skittles.
With a bag of Skittles. So slightly different there. But yeah, this Rittenhouse guy has immediately fallen into the same bucket as Trayvon's
George
killer,
Zimmerman.
Yeah, that fuckstick, who's just a total piece of work, man. Like, there's something about these dudes, these two that we're talking about, that when they got away with it, sort of, right? Or when they were proven innocent in their own heads, I guess, and in all their fans' heads, then they stand for something. And it's like this version of American freedom that some people really, really want to be a thing that's kind of rooted in weird, like, white supremacist stuff somehow.
The part of it that's complex and that neither side is willing to find common ground on is the self-defense laws in general, right? Like,
right, and they're different in every state, which is odd.
But like, obviously, there should be a law. If somebody attacks you and you kill them, and they were about to kill you instead, there are many cases where you should not be in trouble for that.
Right.
But there's going to be gray area in cases like this where I don't know how you solve that problem, and you probably can't. Because if you're going to have a self-defense law, then there's going to be people who don't deserve. Not saying he did it or didn't.
And especially now when if you haven't watched any documentaries about how our justice system works, it isn't even about how things went down, it turns out, because it's just about whether you can prove that's how it went down in court. And then most of the time, there's just like a lot of immoral shit that goes down in courtrooms so that justice is not served.
The shitty part of all this is like most of it, right?
Well, I don't think there's any good stuff. Yeah,
the second guy who died was chasing down Rittenhouse because he thought he was an active shooter because he saw him shoot the guy, but he was chasing down Rittenhouse, who had just shot this guy in self-defense. So then this guy is like, active shooter, went to stop Rittenhouse. Him also gets killed, and they also call it self-defense. So he ends up with the same exact fate as the guy who he thought he was like trying to
which
avenge.
Is where I'm like, I'm not understanding how he got off with nothing. But the point is, he's not quite in, like, George Zimmerman got off, and I think he had to like flee the fucking country for several months. Like, people were pissed.
Well, he made art for a little bit. Do you remember that?
I mean, he did a lot of things. He came back and like sold stuff. I don't want to talk about him, but this dude got off and went straight on a media tour.
Yep.
Where he's going on, like, I guess I would say small to mid-sized to big right-wing podcasts. And there's no other way to put it. The guys interviewing him are very weird.
They're treating him like a prop.
I've seen a few different clips now. I've not listened to the whole of any of these shows and never will. But I've seen a few different clips go viral on social media of him being asked questions like, what do you look for in a woman?
What kind of porn do you watch and stuff like that?
What do you like? What you like? You got a fetish? Like which? And he's like, big boobs and big butts and boobs, and it's like, well, that's every dude's answer ever. And also, why are we talking about this? Is the more important thing.
Honestly, the biggest crime in all of this is that he didn't say some crazy like kink fetish porn. The fact
milking tables.
Yeah. What if he's like, yeah, I'm really into milking tables.
And here, yeah, that's the thing about this dork that's really, really sad is like once you're at the point where you're famous for murder or for killing or for whatever, taking human life, whatever you want to define it as, I guess not legally murder technically now. Once you're famous for that, you can kind of do whatever you want, say whatever you want, you know?
Yeah.
What? And he was like boobs and butts. It's like, dude, talk about hairy assholes or something. Like, go
farts.
Go get fucked up because
squid porn.
You're the only one of us that can do that, and there's no consequence.
What if he's just like, hey, I'm actually a furry. That's why he has the gun. That's why he's fucking strapped.
Yeah, it is why he's strapped. It brings me to one of my other. Okay, so let's stay with Rittenhouse, Jared. You're distracting me with your furry comment. Rittenhouse is already, his life is ruined. All right? It doesn't matter if you think he's guilty or innocent. It doesn't matter. The fact that he has parents who drove him across state lines and dropped him off in an active riot zone tells me that there is a very small chance this young man has what I would call, in the end, a good life. The fact that he's being interviewed on podcasts just weeks after being proven innocent in a court of law, after being charged with at least manslaughter, maybe some degree of murder, I'm not sure what they charged him with exactly, also proves to me that he is quite fucked long term. The clips I've watched of him being like big boobs and butts show me that he's screwed because he's fucking 18. The fact that his parents are letting him do these shows lets me know he's screwed.
I think this guy's only career path now is he's going to write a book and start a podcast.
And be a weird alt-right. Yeah, but like...
And take our ad dollars away.
But that's exactly what I mean, is like, in my personal opinion, I do not believe you can live a shitty life, like as a shitty person, get to the end of it and feel like you've accomplished something. I don't think that's possible. So I think he's going to have a bad life no matter what, based on what I've seen. That's my personal opinion. And when I expressed that on Twitter, when I was like, oh, this kid is so fucked. Like, his life is so fucked. That was my reply to one of the tweets with a clip of him on one of these shows being asked about boobs and butts. I was like, oh my God, his life is over.
Yeah, thanks for that, by the way.
And then all these Kyle Rittenhouse fans started coming at me, and I was like, wait a minute, there are Kyle Rittenhouse fans? And it turns out there are. This guy, and that's why they're asking him the questions they're asking. The whole thing clicked in my head. He is being interviewed as a celebrity, not as a guy who recently got off, defending American rights or whatever. A celebrity. They're hoisting him to the status of full-blown political celebrity, which is weird. And I guess a thing we do here historically, but I've never really noticed before. Like the picture of him with Trump, him going on all these weird shows and answering questions about boobs and butts. They getting congratulated for being a good shot, and him kind of laughing, but then responsibly saying, if I could have avoided that whole night, I would have. If I could go back, I would like none of this to have happened or whatever. But he's just a kid, man, and a kid with really shitty parents. And in the end, I feel terrible for everyone in the whole situation. People who died, people who didn't die, people who are him going around doing podcasts, because he's even if this is what a lot of people were tweeting at me. He's set for life. He's way more successful than you'll ever be. And I was like, that's literally not possible. Because my career is built on me talking and writing mostly. His, and I'm doing air quotes here, career so far is built on him crossing state lines with an assault rifle, killing 3 people in an active riot, and then getting off of all charges.
I still think it was 2 people. Just for
2 or 3.
Plausible deniability.
He killed multiple people, Jared. There, you happy? Allegedly.
I think it's not alleged that he killed them.
That was the joke. That's why you laughed. You ever been on a comedy podcast before?
You're funny.
We just talk about murder on this one sometimes.
Oh,
and
by the
human
way,
rights.
Now, all this stuff you just said about Kyle, like, are you actually...
No, not done with my point. He's going to make a shit ton of money. He's going to be rich as fuck. I understand that. Monetarily. But you can't get rich and wealthy on evil and be okay. That isn't a thing that happens. You know what? Nobody's watching Succession. These people are not fucking happy. It isn't a thing. So this realm he's falling into of this like weird, like all these fucking QAnon YouTubers taking advantage of people, leading them down these crazy fucking conspiracy rabbit holes. You know why they're doing it? For money. People do fucked up shit for money, and that's to me the definition of living a bad life. That at the end of it, you can't look back happily or proudly on if you live in reality, which most of us probably choose not to by that point.
Based on what you just said, like for the last 5 minutes about Kyle Rittenhouse, it is going to be an electric interview next week.
I know, I'm stoked. So the other part of this is Rittenhouse fits into a category of another group of people I want to talk about today. People with assault rifles in their Christmas cards. And they keep getting posted on Twitter and Instagram and shit, and it's mostly, I haven't seen one that's not all white people yet, so I'm not meaning to pick on white people here, but it seems to be mostly white people, of which I am one, and I don't have an assault rifle, though. And the thing I'm trying to make sense of is like, all right, so let's just break this down. Christmas comes to be because the Christians believe Jesus Christ was born on December 25th or whatever. They actually believe that he wasn't born on December 25th. But that's a date we've picked. The Christians picked to signify Jesus' birthday. December 25th. And every year we gather around a tree we've cut down and decorated with sparkly shit. And we've put presents under it that we've lied to our kids about and told them that a fat man broke into our house and put there. And then we open those presents and we give each other shit. And then as part of that, in preparation for that day where we do that, and on Jesus' birthday we open the presents, we send out cards to each other with photos of our families to update everybody else on what we look like this year. And the reason this used to exist is because social media didn't. Instagram didn't exist. So, like, I didn't know exactly what Jared's mom looks like still, and Jared's brother looks like still. And you know what I mean? So, like, you'd get a picture of your friend's family, be like, damn, look how much the Borislows grew this year. And then some people who were, you know, a little woo with it would, like, write a full-blown fucking, like, here's everything that happened to our whole family this year, and they stick it in there, and it was, like, this whole big tradition. And you know, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is how you can justify putting an assault weapon in your Christmas card photo, because going back to Christmas, like, I just think you have that whole, remember when we were kids, when I was a kid, there was this movement that took place. You remember Live Strong bands? Mm-hmm. Lance Armstrong, the former, now much maligned, but also fits into a strange alt-right category of people who are rule deniers or something at this point. He sold 1 billion of these little Livestrong bands in support of cancer. It's the thing that I would say makes everything else he did not matter, in my opinion. Like, I don't even care about his biking career. I'm like, this dude did more for cancer than most people ever will. He also seems like he might be a bit of a prick. He's our interview the week after Kyle Rittenhouse.
He does live in Austin.
He lives in Austin and will probably never be on our show. Because I don't like him. What was my point? Oh, so there was another group of bands, and I don't mean bands that will make her dance or bands that would play music. I mean bands like that you wear on your wrist. And they said WWJD. And they stood for what would Jesus do? And generally that's the Christian principle, to try to walk in Jesus' path and do as he would. Before you do anything, you should ask yourself, well, what would Jesus do?
What if I don't...
That was the idea of the band.
I don't think Jesus would wear the WWJD band, though.
In the first place?
Yeah, I just don't think it's his style.
You don't think that was on brand for Jesus to wear his own merch?
No.
I'm with you. I think JC was like a genuinely cool dude. I don't think he would have worn his own merch either. Like me. I wear my own merch, and I don't think he would have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the fact that I do it says that he wouldn't. Because I'm a sinner, Jared.
How does he not have a Birkenstocks collab?
Just masturbating constantly.
What?
Oh, JC? He wore Birkenstocks.
Yeah, the collab. Where's the collab?
I believe he was sort of like the inspiration for the brand, but he was passed before they were born.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? He's sort of their spiritual founder in a way. Right?
I would always wear my Birkenstocks in Wisconsin, and people's like, hey, I like those Jerusalem cruisers. And I didn't know if that was a Jesus joke or a Jew joke. Or both.
It's both. Also potentially anti-Semitic. It depends entirely who said it. That's the thing about most slurs. It depends who says it.
It's true.
It really does. And the context. A lot of the time. Unless you're white, and then, you know. I mean, I guess y'all have some, the Jews, but we regular white people, what do we call each other, you know? We don't have any word for each other.
No.
Bro.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
for everybody. Everybody can use that. That's not our word.
Yeah. There are some Jewish people who don't claim they're white. They claim they're Jewish.
Well, I'm sure there are a lot of Jewish people who aren't white.
No, there are a lot that aren't white, but there are some white Jewish people
who say, I'm Jewish, not white.
Yes.
That's cool. I honestly don't really like identifying as, you know, when you're going on the little list and it's like,
Hispanic
I really don't
Latino?
like checking white. It makes me, I'm like, what the fuck? These are all, some of them are specific. This is just so, just, it just means like vanilla. That's basically, it says, it might as well say vanilla. And I have to check that. That's what it feels like. I'm just like, oh, come on, man.
Just start checking other stuff then.
Well, I go to the, like, you know, NA or like the I'd rather not disclose. I've started doing it with sex too, because I'll be buying like a butt plug on eBay. I'm kidding, but I'll be buying like a jacket, and it'll be like, are you a man or a woman? And I'm like, what the fuck do you need to know that? What is wrong with you? What is with all the questions? And obviously I know the answer, and it's from marketing and email follow-ups and commerce is the answer. But it's annoying. So I've started putting, I'd rather not say. Just leave me the fuck alone, which I'm also pretty sure is a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Yeah, that's the thing is like the only reason they want to do that is so they have more data on you.
Yeah, it's just
it doesn't
like,
make you less of a man to say, I'd rather not say I'm a man.
I know. For me, that's not what it's about. For me, it's about you literally, this has nothing to do with the purchase. If I'm in a store and I physically go, here's money, I want this jacket. And you go, thanks for the money, the jacket is now yours. They don't then go, are you a man or a woman? Or are you black, white, Hispanic, Asian? And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it has nothing to do with what I'm doing here, buying this fucking item. Why now I'm telling you who I am?
Why are we giving all of our data out voluntarily? You need to pay for my fucking data.
That's what I'm saying. You give me 20% off at least. If the jacket's free, I'll tell you all this shit.
I've been giving my data out for free for too long. I'm not filling out any more forms.
Hey, the Joker said, if you're good at something, never do it for free. That's pretty much the same thing as saying, don't give out your data for free, Jared.
It's true.
And don't pose with an AR-15 in your Christmas card. But I really can't wrap my, because my point was, with the What Would Jesus Do bracelets, I don't feel like JC would approve of that behavior. Or the actual invention of firearms, period. And I think arguing otherwise is wild as hell. Like, there are preachers who will straight up take a stance like, no, Jesus would have been down with the Second Amendment. I'm not joking. And it's like, that's a crazy ass thing to say. Yeah. Like, that's a legitimately concerning fucking thing to say. You just did a sin. You can't assume what God or Jesus or Gandhi or Buddha or any of the other fucking entities that you want to believe in would. You don't get to pass judgment. It's a confusing thing about some religious people. All these religions basically teach you the same thing. And then one of those tenets is usually don't kill the other humans and don't judge the other humans. And yet we go around killing and judging each other constantly based on religion. It's fucking bizarre.
As a half Jew, half Catholic, you know, I am exposed to both religions a lot. And one thing I've always wondered.
They exposed themselves to you.
One thing I've always wondered. Mm-hmm. How would Jesus feel if he came back today and looked and saw that we were all honoring him with the fucking murder weapon that was used to kill him?
The cross?
Yes.
He'd be like, this is the symbol you chose?
Like, why not my thumbs up or some shit?
I was chunking deuce at everybody all those years, and y'all picked the thing they hung me on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Fuck?
That's actually...
Who else do you honor with the murder weapon that was used to kill them?
It'd be like if Michael Jordan's logo was like the ligament he tore that ended his career.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
if for Kobe's shoe they put the fucking Achilles tendon on there. Why the fuck would you? Yeah, JC's got to be upset about that. Bad branding, Jared. What would you pick?
A bone.
Not the crown of thorns. That's not it either, huh?
No, wait, what the fuck? Why do we? I guess it's the whole thing is like he suffered for you, so you're trying to remember his suffering.
It's supposed to remind you of what he went through for you, but I just feel like that might have been lost somewhere along the way when it became like a fashion statement and stuff. You know, like it's kind of like we should probably pick another symbol. The Christians. It's time. New branding, right?
That would be a really good sketch.
What's the new branding for
Christians?
For the Christians?
Yeah,
like our new symbol?
Yeah, we can't use the murder weapon anymore. We need to pick something else.
Like the dove? Like a symbol of fucking hope? I mean, they had a lot of good options. I feel like they blew it and they've stuck with this for too long and now they can't switch away. It's like if the Nazis tried to switch away from the swastika, you know? It's like, you guys have been riding with it for too long. You can't come up with a new brand now.
Yeah, it'd be hard for you because you have so much swastika gear.
What would I do with all? Okay, but like, all right, this is a really weird thing. You know how some people collect like World War II memorabilia?
Yeah.
And then there's some people who only collect Nazi stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, what if you opened that closet and I like had a low key, like I'm serious, as a half Jewish person, what if I was like, oh no, I'm just super interested in the Nazis, so I have all these Nazi things. Would you be like, I'm super interested in not working here anymore?
Is there a reason you're asking? I think
I think it was like a horror movie I watched recently. I feel like there's a lot of shit recently where somebody was a secret Nazi or something.
Watchmen.
Yeah.
That guy had that KKK thing in his closet.
Yes. That was a sort of a version of it for sure. But anyway, yeah.
Anyway,
I'm not a secret Nazi apparel collector.
Thank you.
Fortunately.
So for me, I think I would be able to suss out whether they were a collector of war memorabilia or specifically like they were doing it because of the swastika and Nazi shit. Like if it was like an old Nazi gun and like a helmet and like I was like, okay, this guy just is a World War II buff. But if you got like anything they have a wearable,
but you still need a reason. Like, all right, here's what I mean. If you told me, yeah, man, I'm actually a huge war memorabilia guy, I would be super weirded out because I know you and you've never been in a war or anywhere near one. So it wouldn't make sense for you to collect war memorabilia. The fuck are you doing with that? You're going to slip and fall and one of those artillery shells is going to go right up your ass. If you served or your grandpa served or there was some tie or some reason or some story behind how the collection started and it wasn't strictly Nazi propaganda, then maybe, yeah, sure. But what I'm saying is like, why? We talk about collecting stuff and how it's weird, and you think everybody fucks everything they collect. So what about war memorabilia people? How do you fuck a gun?
It's pretty easy to fuck a gun.
Easier for some than others, I suppose.
Yep. It's one of the easier war things you can fuck, to be honest.
Anyway, jumping back to Christmas cards, this whole thing is like gaining momentum on Twitter in particular, but it's spilling over onto TikTok and Instagram now. Families taking Christmas photos and in some cases apparently full-blown sending out Christmas cards brandishing semi-automatic weapons. Which, I mean, there's like great irony, all over the world at this point. But like that's one of the ultimate hypocrisies I've ever seen. It's fucking straight up full nut, as Kendall Roy would put it. Today's episode of RBP is also brought to you by Birddogs. Birddogs, making the most comfortable shorts in the world with the built-in underwear you know and love for living life and making love. It's like, why wear shorts with underwear when you can wear even better shorts with built-in underwear, thus creating less laundry, thus saving the planet, thus making you a hero who is also better looking and more comfortable. Birddogs, you silly bastard. Also, they make pants for the winter months. And they're very, very comfortable as well. Easily the most comfortable pants I've ever worn. Pants for work, pants for play, pants for golf. Their new joggers are incredible. Go to birddogs.com today. Check out the new joggers. Grab yourself a pair. Absolutely love mine. I've been wearing them to sleep a lot. They're like comfy sleep pants.
I actually wore
mine
as well.
They also look quite nice.
Yeah.
I wear them. I love them. You will too. Birddogs.com. code RBP. And when you use the code RBP at checkout, you get a free whistling football with your order. There's one behind Jared, and there's always a deal going where if you're going to Birddogs and you're supporting the Ross Bolen podcast by using the code RBP, it used to be nunchucks. You can see those behind Jared if you'd like. But over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they had this Bird Boy game situation. Game Bird thing that they had with 400 plus games on it. That's awesome. And now we're back to the whistling football. Use code RBP at birddogs.com. Support the show. Get yourself the most comfortable pants or shorts in the world with built-in underwear. And get yourself a fucking whistling football as well. Holiday season. Shopping, presents, Birddogs for friends and family as well, Jared.
Use our code for everything this holiday season.
Use them. Use the code.
Get everybody Birddogs.
Use our code, you will. The Kanye West Drake concert that was established, planned as a result of the J. Prince Kanye Rothko Chapel meeting that then turned into the Drake Kanye peace bartering party featuring Dave Chappelle, is tonight. The concert's happening. It's a real concert. It's really actually a thing. And not only is it really actually a thing, it's being streamed by Amazon. Amazon is hosting it, is my point. And here's what's weird. Okay, Kanye has had a relationship with Apple. Donda, all the live streams were on Apple. All his previous fashion show shit, always live streaming on Apple. He references Tim Cook at one point in one of his songs. The Amazon thing kind of comes out of nowhere. I'm curious what Amazon's reasoning is, because this whole again, uneducated me, it basically ignorant to the Larry Hoover situation outside of why he was originally incarcerated in terms of the government's argument. I don't know much about the arguments for freeing him outside of that they're arguing his particular circumstances in prison are not okay for a man of his age. He's in apparently solitary confinement pretty much all the time, and it's like a very small area, and they don't think he needs to be in prison anymore, and they want him out of prison. I know they want him out of prison, and they're trying to free Larry Hoover from prison. And Larry Hoover Jr. is involved, and Jay Prince is involved, and now Kanye and Drake are involved, and the whole thing is confusing. But Amazon jumping in and being like, yep, we'll do it. Kanye West, and it's like Kanye West with Drake to benefit. It says, joined by special guest Drake for the Free Larry Hoover benefit concert set to take place Thursday at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. It'll be streamed on Prime Video in more than 240 countries and territories worldwide. Available on the Amazon Music app and on Twitch.
Huh.
And we'll post on demand on Prime Video following the live stream.
Are you going to watch?
Yeah, oh, fuck yeah. I'm probably going to watch it on Twitch. Honestly.
Live, like while you're live on Twitch?
I'll be live on Twitch and streaming it because that's one of the few things you're allowed to do is live react to their stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you gonna, you're going to show it on your...
I could. I might. I don't know.
You should.
Perhaps.
That would be really cool, actually. Have you green screened in? Boss Roland.
Now that we're
on
talking
Twitch.
about it, it's probably not going to happen.
Oh.
But IMAX also plans to live stream the concert in selected theaters across the United States, an exclusive one-night-only event. Tickets are available at IMAX's site. And I'm just like, what? Who goes to the IMAX for the Kanye-Drake show? The whole thing is weird. Anyway, West, according to CNN, West has dedicated the event to raising awareness about the need for prison and sentencing reform and to benefit ex-cons for community and social change, Hustle 2.0, and Uptown People's Law Center. I'm sure those are all great organizations, and that the purpose behind all this is great, and that at least that part, prison reform is obviously a much-needed thing in this country. Okay? Sentencing reform is obviously a much-needed thing in this country, in my opinion. I just don't know shit about Larry Hoover, and I don't understand why. Like, it just seems like a lot of people could be free, you know? They're focusing on Larry a lot. It's just odd. I don't know. It's also Kanye's first headlining show in 5 years and Drake's first public appearance since the Astroworld Festival. So I'm sure it will go fucking swimmingly, Jared. I can't wait.
Is there a live audience?
I assume so. Yeah, I think they're like is a limited amount, but tickets were like $50 or something. But
That's
also
it?
you can tune in from anywhere. Yeah.
yeah.
When I saw the price, I was like, what? I'm sure people were scalping the fuck out of them for thousands and thousands of dollars or something crazy. Or not. If you told me there was zero interest and nobody wanted to go to this, I'd be like, oh, yeah, sure. Because you can watch it from any Amazon product, which everyone has one of.
What does Kanye do at his concerts now? Is it
We're
really
about to find out. He hasn't done one headlining in 5 years. I mean, did you watch the Donda shit? It was chaos. He did all kinds of crazy shit. He cried, openly wept, built his childhood home, and then stood on the front porch with Marilyn Manson and DaBaby. It was bonkers, dude. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, no matter what you think about this situation, Larry Hoover, Drake, or Kanye, this is undeniably entertaining nonsense. Undeniably. Free Larry Hoover. We spent a lot of time the last year and a half between jokes talking about mental health and ways to improve our lives with mindfulness and conscious living. And if you have 10 minutes, our sponsor for today's show, Headspace, can change your life. They really already have, technically, because today's episode is brought to you by Headspace, your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. One of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. So whatever the situation, Headspace really can help you feel better. They've got a 3-minute SOS meditation for you if you're feeling overwhelmed. They've got wind-down sessions that, if you have trouble falling asleep, are huge and incredibly helpful. And for parents, they have a morning meditation that you can do with your kids to start a healthy morning routine to get everybody in a good headspace for the day. Headspace's approach to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. Backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 five-star reviews, and over 60 million downloads, Headspace makes it easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. You deserve to feel happier. And Headspace is meditation made simple. So go to headspace.com/Ross today. That's headspace.com/Ross, R-O-S-S, for a free 1-month trial. That's a free month, Jared, with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. Best deal offered right now. Headspace.com/Ross today. Support the show.
You have nothing to lose. It's literally a free trial.
Get that meditation practice going, baby. Jared and I did a contest on Patreon, where we asked people to write reviews for the show and then share them with us in exchange for a bunch of prizes for the person who writes our favorite one. And I can't remember the name of the person who won, but congratulations. Good, and thank you. But I picked some of the reviews. Maybe theirs was any. I think I actually picked ones that we had never talked about before because we shared some of these on Patreon at one point. I picked some reviews to share with people because I wanted to give people an idea of, first of all, how funny some of our listeners are. Second of all, why you should be on Patreon specifically. This first one speaks to why. And third of all, give you examples of how to go write one of these yourself if you have not written a review for our podcast ever. So here's one from Henry. This podcast has come a long way, and it will not be stopped. RBP is now funnier than ever, and each episode is unique and enjoyable. With an active community and something for everyone, the Ross Bolen podcast is the best Patreon subscription money can buy.
I agree.
Thank you, Henry. From Aaron. 2 guys in some weird BDSM sex cult talk about fast food and hip-hop. 5 stars.
Agreed also.
Thank you, Aaron. From Dustin. Pirates, Teslas, fast food everywhere. What's not to love? 2 of the greatest journalists, one a New York Times bestselling author and the other who has Birkenstocks from Davy Jones' locker, tackle the most relevant topics and remind us of the good that still exists in the world. Funny, witty, enough to make a grown man or woman cry. Peace be with you. Thank you.
By the way, I got new Birkenstocks that they don't have barnacles on them.
I'm fucking sad though. Those were nobody else on earth would have been still wearing those, and you were, and that made me happy.
I have them today. I wore them here today.
You need to. That's what should be on our decorating thing back there. We, you know what we do, Jared? We get 2 little crosses and we crucify each of your Birkenstocks onto a cross, and we stick those behind you for each episode. Here from Nick. I woke up this morning at 6 a.m. to get to the train station and stubbed my toe. It was a horrible experience. This podcast was not. Thank you, Nick. And here's one from Tyler, the final one. If you think Ross and J-Bone are funny together, wait until you hear Ron Bowler on the mic. Doesn't get funnier than that, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so those are just some direct What do they say in those commercials? They're like, that's real patient testimony.
Oh yeah, direct testimonial.
That's a direct testimonial from real supporters on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast.
And you should be on Ross Bolen Podcast Patreon at patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Rumor has it Dustin, who wrote the review about my Bergenstocks, is actually Dustin Hoffman.
Wow, we got the Hoffman on there.
We got the Hoff.
He played Captain Hook in Hook. That's amazing. He was also in Meet the Parents. Dustin Hoffman.
Also in Ishtar with Warren Beatty.
How is that your mind, man? Sometimes I just want to get in there and light stuff on fire, you know? Crawl around a little bit. What? Oh, also, we came up with a brilliant idea, a plan. We were like, we kind of didn't get around to doing merch like we wanted to for this holiday season, for the third holiday season in a row. And I promise, I'm serious. One day we're going to have the coolest merch and everybody's going to be like, man, he wasn't lying those 4 years that he kept saying we were going to get cool merch and then we never did. I swear to God, one day. But yeah, so we kind of fucked that up again. And by we, I mean me. And so I was like, is there a way we can like motivate people to tell each other about the show and maybe even have something that they could give each other as a present related to the Ross Bolen Podcast this Christmas or in holiday season or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or whatever the fuck? And sorry for the Jews. You did get screwed here, but historically y'all have been screwed a lot, so it's nothing new.
Yeah.
So we came up with an idea. It's like, think of it as like a Willy Wonka golden ticket, except for RBP listeners, right? It's the RBP Patreon golden ticket / gift certificate for Christmas or Kwanzaa or birthdays or Mother's Day or Father's Day or whatever the fuck. The point is we made gift certificates, one for the RBP gang tier and one for the RBP enforcer tier, and they're going to be on the Patreon page publicly available for anyone to download and print off and give to their loved one for whatever holiday or occasion you choose. And here's the thing, how you handle that after that is up to you.
That's the most important part.
The only part of this that I will participate in is providing you with a badass, well-designed, Ricky Prosper design. Shouts to Ricky, the guy who did our logo, who did the art behind me, who did all the Formula Bone logo. He's done a bunch of art. Ricky's awesome. He designed these certificates, and so you're gonna need them to be able to print them off and then give the gift of RBP this holiday season in the form of a golden ticket. You're going to need gold ink in your printer for it to be a golden ticket, Jared. I can't guarantee that it's golden. All I can guarantee is that it's a ticket.
If you like to listen or watch RBP with your significant other, there's no better present.
Come on.
Or if you really want to be a patron, but you just either, don't have the funds at the moment or you want to use those funds for other things, whatever.
Ask your parents.
Ask your significant other, ask your friend.
Yeah, because here's the deal. We're going to be making one that says like 1 month, and then we're going to make one that says like a year. So it could be a pretty substantial gift, like a $56 gift or whatever. I don't know. I can't do math well. I don't do adding well. That's why I do microphoning. But yeah, there's going to be all kinds of crazy options, Jared, and you'll see them there on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, pinned right to the top of the page. Everybody can access them. They'll be free, public, whatever the fuck. You don't already have to be a patron. So if you're listening and you're like, well, I don't like Ross enough to listen on Fridays, but I do know Jen does, then go get one for Jen, you dick. Not liking our third show and shit. Also, Jared, you doofus. Donald Trump was definitely in Little Rascals. Confirmed. Yep.
Was he there with Dick Alfalfa?
No. I'm Dick Alfalfa, I thought. Right?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Travis Scott did his first public interview. You remember he did that Instagram live or whatever that everybody was like,
oh my God.
People were like, dude, stop. This isn't coming off well. It didn't stop. His interviews with Charlemagne the God, and he didn't do much better. I just found the whole thing to be kind of unnecessary and awkward. The line of questioning wasn't bad. It's just that, like, this situation is not, everybody wants answers, right? there's no one thing that could have been changed, right? It's like a lot of different things, perfect storm of shit that led to to 10 people losing their lives, and it's a disaster, and people want a way to pinpoint it, and there isn't with this situation, unfortunately, because it was just a perfect storm of shit. And I'm watching the interview, and I'm watching him try to figure a way to say that without making it look like he's trying to pass blame. And he doesn't really know how. And the truth is, he definitely does hold some level of responsibility, in my opinion. Just based on the nature of like his branding, and then that this is his thing. If you're the face of the thing, it's your responsibility, man. I don't care how big your company gets. You're responsible for what happens underneath you on some level.
Exactly. So when Ross becomes president and blows up the Pacific Trash Island, if that, for example, kills some large pod of whales
or seagulls,
that Ross is on the hook for that.
And you.
No, I don't know if I accept that.
I don't know, Jared. By the law of attraction, right?
I don't think that's the right one.
Oh, anyway, the interview didn't go super well. I was like, I clicked play like hesitantly, like, I don't want to watch this. Fuck. And then I didn't. I wish I hadn't. So you don't have to now because I just told you it sucks. And he didn't make me feel better about 10 people having died. And I didn't feel better about it. I felt worse about the whole situation. Made me feel worse.
What games he played at Dave & Buster's afterwards?
No, they didn't get to talking much about the Dave & Buster's after party with the dancers and
I want to know if you played the tornado or the cyclone, the one where that light goes around and you got to stop it right in front of you and you get the jackpot.
Like a cyclone. I want to know if he played Time Crisis 2. I fucking love that one. You're talking about the color one, the color wheel one, where you press it.
You're going to get it right in front of you?
Dude, I love that one.
But all the time, you'd smash the button and you can see yours light up and then it goes backwards. Dude. One. I'm like, fuck you, man.
That's a straight up carnival game. A carny invented that. Small hands. Smells like cabbage. But a carny invented that game for sure. But why did you and I play that one so much? What the fuck was that about?
That was just I was pretty good at it.
We never went together. Just we both played that one a lot, clearly.
We should go to a Dave & Buster's.
I felt like I was really good at it too.
When are we doing a live pod from a Dave & Buster's?
But that was the child version of the slot machine in Vegas. You're just pressing this thing over and over and over and over and over and over and hoping you get good stuff. But you're putting money in. But stuff's coming out, and it makes you feel good, and the lights are happy. Fuck, that was most of Dave & Buster's. We're never going to get a Dave & Buster's sponsorship. Unless we just get like 100 episodes away from this 50-episode batch, where I just kept bringing up how they basically lead kids to be addicted to gambling.
Yeah, well...
It's a frequent topic at this point.
It is.
But I'm really looking back at it and like, bro, a lot of the games I played, one of them was like a tic-tac-toe bouncy game. But like it was a slot machine setup to the point that there was legit. Oh my God, there was a point where I snuck cigs inside Dave & Buster's while I was there with my grandma.
Did you smoke them?
Here's
in the
why
Dave &
I'm
Buster's?
yes. Here's why I'm remembering, and this is fucking bonkers.
How old were you?
18, maybe 17, 18. When you sit down, when you're a little kid and you pull up to the Dave & Buster's game, like a bunch of the games, they have little stools in front of them. And you pull up a stool and you sit down just like you're sitting down in a slot machine in Vegas, and there's an ashtray right there. I mean, it is a degenerate place. Like, even as a little kid, you know when you go to a bar during the daylight and you're like, oh, God, the scent of sin is amongst us. Like, there's just something evil dwelling here. This place doesn't look right. The floors are different than I thought they would be. Why is there stuff on the walls? Is that cum? Like, you go into a bar during the daylight, and you're like, it's not okay in there. Dave & Buster's feels like that all the time.
Yeah, but I don't know anybody who's ever ripped a heater in a Dave & Buster's.
Bro, now you do. You're sitting 4 feet from somebody who's ripped a lot of heaters in Dave & Buster's with their grandma. She wasn't smoking, just me. Dead serious.
Did you win prizes? You're smoking heaters and then you're coming home with like a fucking one of those.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Stretchy hands that you slap onto the wall.
There are other parents there with like their fucking 8-year-old or whatever. Were they not like is that a really pissed off teenager smoking cigarettes playing whack-a-mole? Because that's what I was doing, man. I was just walking around ripping heaters like fucking beating little kids, at games. Anyway, great tradition with my grandma, one that I'll always remember fondly. When I was a young boy, before I started ripping heaters, she would take me to Toys R Us afterwards.
Really? When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band.
Okay.
He said, son, when you grow up, will you be the savior of the broken, the beaten, and the damned?
What fucking song is this from, Jared?
We'll carry on, we'll carry on.
Are you going to sing it now? What's...
It's Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
Okay. I feel like a lot of songs are conversations between a father and a son. Isn't there that Man on the Moon song?
No, you're thinking of Silver Spoon?
Silver Spoon.
Cats in the cradle with the silver spoon.
That's one about a father and a son.
Man on the moon.
Exactly. Thank you. But then you and I were talking about...
Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon.
And then that led us to... If you believe they put a man on the moon.
Yes.
Some of this was off mic before the show and is probably confusing. But the point is, there's lots of songs about fathers and sons in the moon.
REM, for my money, is the most well-known, unknown band of all time. Like, nobody knows that the songs that are famous from REM are by REM, but they know all the words.
Okay, they're definitely one of them because I can't name an REM song off the top of my head, not even counting the one that we just were singing because I don't think it's... Maybe it is called Man on the Moon. But REM it's like, I know they're one of the most successful bands of all time, but I can't picture a single member of the band in my head. I don't know a single name of a single member of the band, and I can't name a single one of their songs.
Okay, so you said Man on the Moon.
Other than if you believe they put a man on the moon.
How about That's Me in the Corner? That's Me in the...
I fucking love that song.
Losing My Religion.
Great song. Losing My Religion. Okay.
How about It's the End of the World as We Know It?
Another great one.
Bangers.
All-timer. That one kind of got ruined by overuse in movies. It's the End of the World as We Know It. Comedy movies couldn't stop putting that in. 90s, early 2000s. Holy shit. And it was in so many movies.
That's pretty much it as far as their like very well-known bangers go.
Okay.
But like, do you know what REM stands for?
No.
It's got to stand for something, right?
Let me guess. Hold on. First, I'm looking up their greatest hits because I wanted to make sure I don't miss any of the songs that I really like. Nope. See, I bet I do like a lot of these, but I don't recognize the name of any of them.
This says REM stands for Rapid Eye Movement, but I think that's
That's REM sleep. That's REM. I also Googled what does REM stand for, and I'm stupid enough to think that it was... I'm going to put what does REM band stand for. Oh, it still says Rapid Eye Movement.
Well, there we go.
Named for a dream state condition, and they were formed in 1980 in Athens, Georgia.
Oh, it's Go Dogs.
Okay.
Congrats on your college football playoff berth.
By the way, I do believe they put a man on the moon. I do. To answer their question, do you? Seriously, do you believe we went to the moon? A lot of people don't.
If I'm being totally serious,
Totally honest, 1,000% honest, did we go to the moon, Jared?
I do believe we went to the moon.
I do too, but only because I don't think they could have pulled off a lie that big back then. I don't think enough people could have gotten behind it and kept their mouths shut. Otherwise, it's not that I don't believe the government isn't capable of doing something that insidious. I'm 1,000% certain our own government would fake a moon landing. 1,000%. But in this case, I think we went to the moon, and I don't want to be punched in the face by any elderly astronauts next time I'm in the NASA area. So, just to be clear, I am not a moon denier. Although, what am I? Apologist. I'm a Polly Walnuts apologist.
You're an apologist
from The Sopranos. Yeah. Happy birthday to my dad, by the way.
My dad.
Our dad. Steve. Yeah. Happy birthday. It's his birthday. 65, man. 65 years. 65. I thought he was 63. Turning 63. When we were like, birthday coming up a few days ago or whatever, I was like, are you turning 63? He was like, 65, big 6'5". And I was like, oh, that's right. I deleted 2 years of my life from my brain.
I mean, it's weird. Our dads are like the same age, even though you're older than me.
How many years older than you am I?
I'm 28.
So I'm 6 years, no.
Yeah. How old are you?
7 years older than you. I'm 34.
That's 6 years. 28 and 34.
You carry the one. Is it?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to trust you here.
Yes. But I thought you were 35.
Are you 27 or 28?
28. I said 28.
Okay, you said
I did
27
not
the first time, Jared,
the
which
fucking
is
audio. Just because I messed it up right there does
No. We are going to check the audio because the first time you did say 27 and it's what threw my math off and this whole thing got really confusing. It's all on you.
You said I was
not
27
me.
on Twitter earlier today, and I thought the whole time, like, Rosling's on 27. That's kind of interesting.
When did I say you were 27 on Twitter?
Check your tweets.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't even talk about this. You freaking got...
What?
You accidentally, through no fault of your own, had people coming after me and insulting me on Twitter.
Wait, why?
Remember with all the anonymous people with your Kyle Rittenhouse thing?
Oh,
and they came.
No, it was just one guy.
Well,
he said, yeah. So there's all these anonymous Twitter accounts attacking me right now, and this one dude goes, he was replying to another guy who had already muted, so I don't even know who he's responding to, and he just goes, yeah, he used to be funny like in 2009, 2010, which is hilarious because I hadn't graduated from college yet at that point. And now he just sits in a little kid's car bed and talks about F1 to himself. And I was like, it's Jared, not me.
Come on.
Which means he just doesn't even know who I am and was like searching around because I think I had recently retweeted Formula Bone.
Well, you have it in your bio.
That's what, you know what, I'll just stop promoting your show for you. Is that what you want, you dick?
You do have Formula Bone in your bio, and I'm sure that's what they clicked.
No, it was literally the most recent retweet as I was having this conversation with that guy was you promoting your show from yesterday.
Well, a lot of people on TikTok still think that we are the same person who talks and does both sides of it.
That's also because I tell people that constantly. I need a scapegoat too, dude. We all need one.
It's true.
Right, Bruce? Right. Also, happy birthday to Barrett, by the way. I'll be shocked if he hears this. And happy birthday to Joey back on November 29th because I cannot remember if I shouted him out yet, and he's one of our biggest supporters, and I wanted to make sure I got that in there. So, yeah, 3rd episode this week. You didn't think it could be done, did you? We did it.
There's a 4th episode this week.
And there's a 4th one coming on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast tomorrow. Be there or be square.
Special guest?
Special guest David Ruff should be there with us, but I don't know. He's got a newborn. You never know what'll happen between now and then. But the week after that, Kyle Rittenhouse, which is huge. Everybody's stoked for that. I can't wait to ask him about his favorite squid porn and which, animated character turns him on the most and, like, the first hand job he ever got.
Can you screen? I had a question for him because I want you to screen real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. It's fuck, marry, kill, my asshole, my mouth, and my fucking ear.
Dude, that's a good one. I can't wait for you to deliver that question. I gave that one to Dr. Jorgensen in 2020 when she was running for office. Jared, I'll be back on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast soon. We love you very much. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.